When you're new to Maya, one of the first things you're going to want to do is learn about how to navigate around your window. This little window here, this is called your workspace. So when you have installed Maya for the first time or you're just getting to learn it, when you open up Maya, this will be the first thing you'll see. And this is what you call a perspective window. At the bottom of the window, you'll see the name of the camera. So each viewport has a camera associated with it, and each one has a name. So the first thing you're going to do in this scene is try and, you might be moving around with your mouse and you're trying to figure out how do you move around. So before you do anything, I would suggest is to make an object so you have something to see in your scene. This little ground plane here is called your grid. And your grid is basically a Cartesian plane, an XYZ grid. But what you're going to do, first thing you're going to do is, if this is not open, go to this. You'll see this is called a shelf. These are shelves. And just create an object. These are really simple ways to create objects. So I generally start with a cube. So I'm going to put a cube in the scene. There, now we have a cube here. And if you press off in space with your left mouse button, it will turn just gray. It won't be green anymore. If it's green, that means it's selected. If you want to select an object, you would use your left mouse button and you would just hold your left mouse button and create a window. And now your object is selected. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to move around the scene a little bit. And the camera controls in Maya are named after film controls or camera controls from filming. So the first thing is going to be to tumble your camera. So you do that by accessing the camera controls by the keyboard and your mouse. So on a PC, you use the Alt key. On a Mac, you use the Option key and use your left mouse button. And you can tumble around an object. The next thing you'd want to do is move side to side, which that camera movement is called a pan. So for that, on a PC, you would use your Alt, and for a Mac, you would use your Option key, and you would press the button, and then you would hit the middle mouse button. There you go. Go side to side. Now, the next thing is you would want to, if you want to zoom in on your object, that's called a dolly. So again, that would be the Alt or Option key and your right mouse button. So you move it up or down, and that zooms you in. Sometimes you have to adjust, like that's zoomed up here over the screen, so you might have to use a combination of keys. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Alt and middle mouse button to move this over. You can also, if you have a scroll wheel, you can use your scroll wheel, which is quite handy. That will zoom you in and out. And now if I want to tumble around again, I'm going to use my Alt and my left mouse button. So again, to tumble, that's Alt or Option and left mouse button. To pan is Alt or Option and mid mouse button. To zoom is Alt or Option key and right mouse button. Let me zoom out here. And another handy trick is you can use your left mouse button to select your object. And Maya uses something called hotkeys. So you can press F for frame, and that always centers your object. So if you get lost in your scene, you can always pick on your object. So those are some of the basics of camera motions and how to control your camera in Maya. And that would be the first things you'd want to do when you get started in Maya. Okay, we'll get to the next lesson.